Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. I was so worried you weren't going to take my call. I mean, I know that you've answered every call I've made to you so far, but I understand that if only for clinical business reasons, as just one of your presumably many employers. I mean, it it can't just be me, right? You run a business, and I know that can't be paying you enough to live on for a whole month with just a few spare hours every week. Perhaps I need to bump up your rates if that really is the case. Wait. Focus. Focus? I'm sorry. I really am, but I haven't had time to run to the store to pick up my medications with everything being so frantic lately, but I haven't had the time to schedule you to watch Evie Stevie either because, well, to be completely transparent, Oliva insists that if I'm not going to get someone to nanny her for the whole time, that I should only really be scheduling you in when I really need it, and has only allocated a budget for a few days every month. Hence why I've been seeing you quite a lot less. To be frank, I don't know if it's a jab about my lack of friends with time, let alone friends in general willing to watch the Scare Bear for a few hours, or some sort of reassuring ultimatum he's trying to put me through, like an I was raised by nannies and I turned out fine sort of thing. I don't think I mean, it's Oliver. I just don't think he really has the time or thought process to be that manipulative. Because isn't that the fact of the matter? That most of the unintended harm in this world simply comes from not being able to perfectly perceive how another person responds to what you do? Oliver's personal positive experiences in a childhood that made up for the lacking parental attention with multiple people made to serve those same roles presumably only ring as hollow to me for the same reasons that living in a house divided and then houses divided as I was tossed between divorced parents makes me want to be there for Evie all the more and make sure that she knows that she lives in a house where she is safe and loved. A house where mommies and daddies don't fight with each other. I'd be willing to fight to maintain a little paradise for her. It's one of the few things Oliva is willing to agree with me on, though that might be my own little story about my mommy and daddy not liking each other and not knowing that a single thing might have been wrong with that statement. I wouldn't be surprised if he had nightmares about that somehow ruining him. He's that kind of guy. The other night he had nightmares about someone writing an expose on him, despite the fact that he's done nothing wrong. No crimes, no scandals, nothing of the sort, and he spent the rest of the day vexed about what that article, that book, that tell haul, that thing could have conceivably been exposing him for. That's the thing about Oliver. I feel like he'd be so easy to get mad at, but it feels like scolding a child. Not even a particularly smart child. A child who just so happens to control basically every aspect of my life, but a child nonetheless. He doesn't even know half of the things going on in his own company. I know that firsthand. Well, I'm just going to keep that to myself. You know, any details revolving around him not knowing what's going on at his own company as the CEO. You don't look like the type to play the stocks or anything like that, but the last thing I want is to take a spoon out of my baby's mouth. Even though I think she'd be just as satisfied with a plastic spoon as a silver one. Anyways, pardon me for getting so off topic so easily. Again, the medicine. The point is that in the long term, I kind of decided I'd rather parent my own daughter than pay someone else to do it full time, and Oliver slashed my babysitting budget. And I can't seem to get the parental locks on Evie's devices to parental lock the surgery live stream she's been getting really into as of late, and morally speaking, I cannot pay you a reduced rate if I actively know I'm going to be throwing you into the crosshairs of her brain surgery phase. Besides, I need to save these funds for something. Something else. A favor I can only really ask of you. You see, although Oliver has agreed to some of the parenting work I've asked of him, like not yelling at Evie or not yelling at me in front of Evie, he's a very busy man, and the week where little Evelyn would want him to be there for her the most, he's flying off to Taiwan for a convention or two. Business. Important business, he says. He travels fairly frequently. You just caught him in a long stint at home, and so we're kind of used to him not being here more often than we're used to him being around, as terrible as that may sound. But I just need someone else there. Just this once. Just this once. Someone there who can stand by my side and look proud to know me. Happy even. To be with me. To love me. Even if it's only pretend. Even if it's only one night. One night would just be. I said too much. This is really, really, really supposed to be out by Evie. I mean, really supposed to be about Evie. Don't let my time novel drivel steer you astray. This was more of me venting, on top of already venting. If anything, it is really something I need someone else to be there for me for, and I think you're the best person who could help me with it. Even do it with. As long as you're willing to follow my lead. It's parent-teacher conferences in just a few days, and I'm so sorry to spring this on you so soon, but I was hoping you could go with me and Evie. I wouldn't normally ask this of you, or anyone for that matter, but what I thought was going to be a basic administrative dotting of the T's and crossing the I's is really something more of a party. A party where the students get to show off their classroom and the work they're doing, and the parents are expected to mingle, and I didn't even know until Evie brought the form home, and Oliver was a hop, skip, and a jump of 9,276 miles away, so I know there's no real stigma of being a single parent nowadays, at least as much as there used to be, but I know that nobody's ever thought of mentioning that to Oliver if he finds out that I went alone and made him out to be some sort of world-traveling deadbeat, it could affect his business, and on top of that, many of the school administrators are already worried about Evie and her home life. I might love Evelyn with all my heart for every piece of her, every quirk and every eccentricity and every hair left out of place, but the children do not. The children have not learned to love her as I have, and Evelyn has not made one single friend throughout the first 3 months of her kindergarten whatsoever. She's shunned at the best of times and mocked at the worst of them. They think she's weird. They think she's creepy. They think she stares either too much or not enough. She cries when she's not supposed to and laughs just the same, and they think it's my fault. Of course, that's not what they say. They don't say that. It'd be anarchy if we could all just for once say what we truly mean, but I just want the ability to sort of smooth things over with the staff in an implicit sort of way. You don't have to say you're Oliver. You don't even have to say you're associated with me. We just have to stand next to each other and hope that everything clicks. Of course, it probably isn't a good look as the mother hen that I am to be cavorting with a spring chicken like yourself, but it's nothing that can get us in trouble for. Nothing that can prove. Look, I'm willing to accept that maybe there's a problem with us. Maybe there's a problem with us that directly affects how Evie thinks and talks and experiences the world around her. Maybe it's entirely my fault, I'll say. But those problems are going to get doubled down upon if Oliver comes home and thinks the school is calling his baby girl broken. I have no doubts about that. I fear for my daughter. I fear how much smaller her world may become if Oliver thinks he has to get his way and is willing to fight for it. He's a child, remember? And on top of that, he's one of those children who never really learned how to share. Never one of those children who had to learn how to share. And one of those children who'd sooner break his toys than give them up to just about anybody. If he thinks someone can pull a fast one on him, there'll almost certainly be consequences. But I'd like to think Evelyn loves you more than I fear him. Between you and me, you could wrap your teeth around the world with that kind of love. So I'm willing to try.